Hi everyone, welcome to tnSportsChat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. First show of 2019. First time we're with you in a little while. I'm Patrick Matsinko. This is Emmett McCall. Good to be back, and obviously we have a lot of ground to cover today.
Yeah, we haven't done anything winter sports season yet. We wanted to get something up. We kind of the last program we did, we recapped the fall, previewed a little of the winter sports, and we've had a lot going on here this winter season.
Yeah, and we're already at the point where we have several teams that are already locked into district playoffs, which is pretty wild. We've been blessed, I guess, with some good weather, though I think that might end soon. But thinking about one of those teams that's already punched its ticket to the postseason, the Jim Thorpe girls basketball team has enjoyed a phenomenal season so far. We are coming to you on Thursday. They're coming off of yet another win Wednesday night over Pottsville to improve to 14-0 this year.
We have a lot of teams that have been playing really well, a lot of great records, but Jim Thorpe, 14-0, only undefeated team. And they're doing it with a really young team, which is even more impressive. And they're also blowing out teams. They haven't had a lot of close games. Tamaulipas gave them a good game a couple of weeks ago, but they've been pounding teams 20, 30-point wins.
And their win over Pottsville was an interesting game, I guess, to say the least. Sam Mata covered it for us, obviously had a chance to kind of read his story and get a little bit of insight to how that one played out. But,
and it's a compliment to Jim Thorpe, how well they're playing, how dominant they are. The teams are going to try to come up with ways to slow them down and beat them. Pottsville last night held the ball for 10 minutes of the first half, the entire 8 minutes of the second half. Didn't attempt a shot, stood out. They were down by 2 points, 9-7 at the time. They stood out by midcourt holding the ball. Jim Thorpe stayed in his own defense, let him do it, because Jim Thorpe had a couple of girls in foul trouble, so they didn't want to come out. Pottsville knew Jim Thorpe was more talented. They had beat him by 24 points earlier in the year, so both coaches were just content with letting it play like that. 9-7 at halftime, but then Thorpe came out in the second half, eventually won by good margin.
Yeah, and you think about, like we said, about the girls they have on that team. I know last night Kristen Scott played a big role for the Olympians, but she's a junior, has provided some valuable leadership there along with Natalia Richards for the freshmen.
Only senior on the starting lineup, right?
And those freshmen, I mean, Skylar Searfoss, you have Olivia Smellison, you have Leela Hurley. I mean, that's been a dynamic, just been a dynamic combination for them all season.
Right, and they don't play like freshmen.
No.
And they've got a good mixture. They've got the height with Smalis. You've got good scoring. It's just and they're playing good defense too.
Yeah.
So it's been they're not playing like freshmen, like I said.
No, but it's definitely been one of, obviously, like you said, many highlights so far this season. But we do have several other squads that are already, as we said, locked into the postseason, and several are right there with Jim Thorpe when you look at those District 11 Class 4A standings.
Right. We're looking at Northwestern,
which
14-2.
Perennially, I mean, just kind of always there, a contender in the Colonial League, in the district. Head coach Chris Deutsch does always a phenomenal job with that program.
Right.
And then we have Tamaulipas as well. Tamaulipas girls played Jim Thorpe really tough in their first meeting this season. Tamaulipas girls have been, I mean, you look at Emma Kaczynski, obviously, and some of the other girls that they have there, Emily Titus, I mean, it's just been, I think it's been a great balance there for head coach Eric Davis.
Yeah, and that is a loaded Class 4A. Yeah. We talked about Tamaulipas, Jim Thorpe, and Northwestern, all with great records. Then you throw in Allentown Central Catholic and Bethlehem Catholic.
Which is,
two EPC powers year in, year out. So that is one loaded class in Class 4A. And we have teams with really good records in other classes too. Girls basketball, we've got Weatherly with 11 wins, has already clinched the district berth. They did it last night against Lincoln Leadership, rolled to a big win. Marion's got 11 wins already, and Pleasant Valley is right on the border of clinching. They have 10 wins. So that's 6 of our girls' programs have 10 or more wins at this point of the season.
And sitting in that upper tier in these district standings, obviously, as well. And Weatherly, I mean, with Emily Zoshin returning
District 11 champs.
Yeah, and again, too, you look at some of these girls that they have, the pieces that are there, and they're certainly primed to be right there to make yet another run at another District 11 Class A title. So,
and Marion, after a little bit of a down year last year, and it was still good record
sure,
by most standards, but now they're back up to a status where they're going to be competing in Class 2A for a district championship.
Absolutely.
Emily Shoud is kind of been leading the way with them. They have some good inside presence.
With Emma McClafferty, I mean, she's been a huge force for them. And then obviously you throw in, I mean, I know I covered them against Shenandoah and Julia Kreisel, Macy Alansky. You know, they had contributions from so many players, and shots were falling. You know, and that was big that night. So if they can get that kind of inside-out presence going, they're a really dangerous team.
Right, and they have to compete against Monte Area, who Coach Bruto told me early in the season might be the best AA team in the 2A team in the state. So that you got to go through them
just to get out of
just to get out of districts. But they lost to Monte Area in the season. I believe it's next Thursday. They have a rematch with Monte Area coming up a week from today, and that same night, Tamaqua and Jim Thorpe girls meet in a rematch of their game, which probably the two best teams in Division I of the Schuylkill League are playing in that game. So next Thursday, a couple of really marquee girls basketball games on the slate.
Yeah, for sure. It should definitely be a big night. And just to kind of transition to the boys side of it, we have several boys teams that are on the doorstep of kind of getting locked into district playoffs. I know I got to cover one of those teams earlier this week. Really exciting and fun game with Panther Valley and Tamaqua boys. I mean, that was what an atmosphere.
We got to cover two of them then, because Tamaqua's on our list here too.
But, and they're close. They're 10-4. They're
Panther
close.
Valley, the only boys team. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Panther
We're
Valley,
not live, so it's all right.
Panther Valley, the only boys team that has already clinched. They have 11 wins, 11-3. They're having a great season. They won the Schuylkill League Division III title last year. It was Division III, right? Moved up to Division I this year, and that's where they had played the last decade before dropping down to Division III the past 2 years. But they've handled the promotion back up to Division I very well. They are among the best teams in Division I this year. Had a great game with Tamaqua that you said you covered the other night. Panthers are 11-3.
Yeah, and again too, you look at both those teams, and they'll meet again too in the regular season finale, which should be a ton of fun. That game will be at Panther Valley, and if the atmosphere is anything like it was at Tamaqua, it should be pretty rowdy.
And that could be for a league playoff berth. Top two teams in Division I make the league playoffs. Pottsville's kind of put themselves on the top of the Division I teams.
7-0, I think.
Right, but it's wide open after that. Blue Mountain's playing well, but you have Tamaqua and Panther Valley both going to be competing for that playoff spot as well.
Yeah, Tamaqua Panther Valley matchup, we didn't have any technical difficulties there, but that Tamaqua Panther Valley matchup obviously is very exciting, and they will meet again last game of the regular season, so that should be definitely one to watch. But outside of that Schuylkill League Division I kind of race there, which also includes Blue Mountain and Pottsville, both very good teams. We have several other teams that are, again, right on the doorstep. You look at in the Colonial League, we have Northern Lehigh, we have Palmerton. Northern Lehigh playing very well, just picked up another big win over Palisades on Wednesday night. 10th win of the
season.
Yeah.
So they're one win away from clinching. Coach Jeff Miller's doing a really good job with that team. They've been really good. They won their championship of their Northern Lehigh tournament this year,
which is big.
Beat his son's team, beat Lehigh in the championship game. They're getting a lot of good contributions this season.
Preston Kemery, Brandon Hess. I mean, those
Hess
guys.
Is borderline 1,000-point scorer. He's going to be getting there this week. So he's had a great career, and he stepped up his game this year even more.
And another team that was in that Slatington Rotary tournament was Palmerton. The Bombers are right around 500.
I think they're 8-8 right now.
So
a few wins away away, so it's going to be an important late season schedule for them. Nate Doherty's playing well for them. Justin Hosier's playing well. Both those guys have been around for a few years now, have been starting, and you can see the improvement in Palmerton as seasons go on.
Absolutely, and you already kind of touched on it there, just in terms of some of those guys with Hess and Doherty, and just some of these guys that have been big factors in the team success, and you can see it in their individual accomplishments. We've had a number of records set, and then we've also had several 1,000-point scores already this year.
Yeah, we've had 5 in the first 6 weeks of the season. We've had 3 boys, Rini Figueroa of Panther Valley, Tyler Fritz of Marion, and Nate Doherty of Palmerton, who just did it earlier this week. And we've had 2 girls, Emma Kaczynski of Tamaqua and Jada Sager of Northern Lehigh have also done it. Fritz and Kaczynski are both juniors, the other 3 are seniors.
Yeah, so you look at just kind of what they've done, and again, just kind of how that's managed to tie into the team success that these programs have had.
All 3 of them have been really team leaders this year for their teams, leading scorers a lot of nights, if not most nights. And
doing it in more ways than just scoring, too. So
exactly, a little rebounding, a little handling the ball. Rini at Panther Valley, he's got the ball in his hand all the time.
Yeah.
He can shoot the 3, he can get to the basket, a lot of steals, good defense. So like we said, all 5 of those players really versatile.
And you think about, again, just kind of the records that they've set, just school-wise. I think you look at a kid like Rini, I mean, he's obviously, again, 1,000-point scorer, but
just broke the Panther Valley career boys scoring record a couple weeks ago. I think the game was against MMI where he did that, so he's got that record now. Panther Valley also set a team record for 3-pointers in a game earlier this season. They had 15 against Marion. Trey Turner had a big game there. He had 8 3-pointers in the game, but Panther Valley is averaging 10 3-pointers a game this year, which is crazy. They're going to shatter the all-time Times News record for 3-pointers in a season if they continue this pace. But yeah, so they've been really well. Speaking of 3-pointers, Braden Knobloch of Tamaqua, another athlete who's having a great year for Tamaqua. He had 8 3-pointers in a game earlier this season, which tied a Tamaqua's school record for most individual threes in a game.
And another kid that also does it, has the ball in his hands. And I know just too, thinking about, you covered them, Tamaqua against Lehighton. Trevor Miller was extremely complimentary of Braden.
Called him one of the best, if not one of the best players in the Schuylkill League Division I, and maybe the most valuable player to any team in Schuylkill League
and
Division
Pat Cramsey was, equally, effusive in his praise of Braden, where, yeah. So, we've had a couple of months here, so I've been dusting up on my vocabulary. But, again, he's just been so massive for them. And again, too, I know you look at what he does, how he scores, but he also is one of the team's top rebounders. And then I know the game you covered. I mean, he was huge with assists and in almost every category.
Led the team in points, rebounds, and assists that night. Tamaqua's also getting really good contributions. I don't know if we mentioned him earlier when we were talking about Lucas Gregor.
The Jaguar.
Yeah. He's had a big year for them. And in the game I covered, Braden did a great job of attracting the defense to him and then getting it inside for easy baskets for some of the big guys.
Yeah, so again, just kind of, looking at sort of the dynamic there, it's certainly been exciting and a lot of fun to watch.
And another record that was set earlier this week, or last week it was Jada Sager had a 36-point game, and that broke the Northern Lehigh single game scoring record for boys or girls, 36 points in a game. So yeah, we've got a lot of records, a lot of milestones.
Yeah.
It's been a really fun basketball season so far.
Yeah, and again, too, just thinking about all that has gone on the basketball scene, and it's been equally busy on the wrestling front as well. So obviously, the postseason isn't too far away for a lot of those guys and girls, but this weekend, we kind of get a little bit of a taste, I guess, just in terms of that sort of postseason type atmosphere, bragging rights too, I think, in a lot of ways, with the Schuylkill League tournament, which will be held at Pottsville's Martall weather permitting, on Friday and Saturday of this week.
Yeah, haven't gotten any word from the Schuylkill League, so we're assuming it's still on. They might tweak the times a little, move it up, but as of right now, it's still on. And we have 4 Schuylkill League wrestling teams. They'll all be there: Lehigh, Panther Valley, Tamaqua, and Jim Thorpe. And all 4 of those schools have some really good wrestlers who could be competing for titles there.
Yeah, and just looking at kind of the rankings and kind of the way they've fallen so far through the first 2 weeks, just kind of doing it this season, we have Jim Thorpe's Austin Williams and Ethan Mordaunt, both undefeated. Both have been rolling so far this season. Tamaqua's Bronson Strauss, defending Schuylkill League champion, only has 1 loss. Lehighton's Chris Whiteman, coming off of a phenomenal performance at the Indian Duels, where he went 5-0 and pinned just about everybody in no time. So he's looking really, really good.
He's a defending champ.
Also
as well,
a defending
right?
champ.
Yeah.
So he's someone that's obviously in good form heading into this weekend. So should be a lot there to kind of look forward to. And we have, obviously, along with Whiteman and Strauss, we also have a number of guys that are back looking to kind of repeat those medal performances they had last year. So, but in 2 weeks, we also have the Coal Cracker tournament, which will be held at Panther Valley. A staggering number of teams this year.
39 teams, including 6 from the Times News area. We have Panther Valley, Tamaqua, Jim Thorpe,
Northwestern,
Palmerton, and Lehighton, right?
So I think so. That's,
yeah.
I mean, that's the majority of our coverage area,
right,
all in one tournament. So
if you like wrestling, you like local wrestling, that's a good place to go. And also, if you like to see some new faces who you won't see if you go to a District 11 AA or AAA championship, we've been talking about it earlier. Kind of deja vu. This feels.
Yeah,
like.
Yeah. It feels like we've done this before, and now we're doing it.
But yeah, you've got teams from District 3, District 2, District 4. You probably have out-of-state teams. We didn't get the official list of all the teams yet, but I know in past years they've had some out-of-state teams there. And a familiar face behind the scene there again running this tournament at Panther Valley.
Former Panthers head coach Tim Robb does a ton still for the program with helping these tournaments. Did a lot for the Anthracite Duels, which was already held this season, and now obviously is huge with helping to keep the Coal Cracker kind of running and going. And I mean, that's a huge undertaking. It's a huge task for any school.
He stepped down from the head coaching position, but still keeps this up. If you're friends with Tim on Facebook, like I am, he's looking for volunteers to work on Friday and Saturday up there, looking for food donations. He's kind of put in everything from A to Z. He kind of has to organize and put together and does a really nice job. And I can't even imagine the task. They're using 2 buildings, the high school, the intermediate school. They're using 4 mats at each school, so you got 8 mats going, 39 schools, like we said. It's quite the undertaking.
Yeah, so that should be a lot of fun. Definitely something to look forward to for area wrestling fans next Friday.
That's the 26th and 27th of January.
So that'll be next weekend. But in addition to all of our coverage, so far this season, we've also had several kind of highlight standouts just in terms of 2 area athletes. Jim Thorpe's Skylar Searfoss, Northern Lehigh's Jada Sager, both have earned Lehigh Valley Health Network Athletes of the Week so far this winter.
Something new we started the first of the year. I'm going to continue it through the spring season and then into the fall season, hopefully. Pretty cool. It's every Wednesday it will appear, an ad congratulating the Athlete of the Week will appear in the Times News Sports section. Basically covers the week, the previous week's performances, and like you said, Searfoss, Sager both had monster starts to the season, and they were our first 2 choices, and that's going to be continuing.
Yeah, so look for that in the next coming weeks. Obviously, we'll have much more as the season goes on, but I think that might be all that we have for now.
Yeah, that sounds good, Patrick.
Hopefully this is actually the end of it this time, and I don't go over there and see that this wasn't recording. But for Emmett McCall, I'm Patrick Metzinko.
I hope we did it better the second time.
I'll find out when I go to the other side of the phone. For Emmett McCall, I'm Patrick Metzinko. Thank you again for tuning in to TN Sports Chat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network.